The Hidden Project. Admiral Sarah Chen stared through the reinforced viewport of Lunar Base Echo, her weathered face illuminated by Earth's soft blue glow. 20 years had passed since the Galactic hegemony had welcomed humanity into their empire. 20 years of subtle oppression masked as guidance, of technological restrictions disguised as safety protocols, of watching humanity's spirit slowly wither under alien oversight. But that was about to change. Admiral, Project Aegis is ready for your inspection. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's voice carried a hint of pride he couldn't quite suppress. Chen allowed herself a small smile. He had every right to be proud. The journey to the project chamber required 3 separate quantum-encrypted elevators and a retinal scan that measured not just patterns but blood flow. The hegemony's orbital monitors might track every satellite and space station humanity possessed, but they couldn't see through 2 kilometers of lunar rock. The chamber itself was massive, carved from the moon's living rock over a decade of secret labor. But Chen barely noticed the chamber anymore. Her attention, like always, was drawn to the ship that dominated it. The NSV Prometheus hung in its berth like a predatory fish, all smooth lines and deadly grace. Unlike the blocky utilitarian designs the hegemony permitted humanity to build, the Prometheus was a weapon in every curve of its titanium alloy hull. But its true power lay hidden beneath that hull, in technologies that would make the Hegemony Science Council have a collective seizure. "Give me the status update," Chen ordered, approaching the primary engineering station, where Dr. Elena Santos waited. The physicist's dark eyes sparkled with barely contained excitement. "The quantum core is stable, Admiral. We've successfully integrated the crystalline matrix we recovered from the Mars dig site. Whatever species left that artifact behind, they were centuries ahead of even the hegemony in energy manipulation." Chen nodded. The discovery of the alien ruins beneath Olympus Mons had been pure luck, and humanity's first hint that the hegemony wasn't telling the whole truth about galactic history and the stealth systems. "Better than we hoped," Raj interjected. "The metamaterial coating bonds perfectly with the hull at a quantum level. Combined with the gravitic distortion field, we're effectively invisible to every known form of detection. Which means exactly nothing if we can't mask the quantum core's signature," Dr. Santos added. "Fortunately, the containment fields are holding. As far as any hegemony sensors are concerned, this entire chamber is just another piece of lifeless rock." Chen ran her hand along a nearby console, feeling the subtle vibration of power thrumming through the ship. One ship, one chance to prove humanity wasn't just another species to be guided and controlled. "Show me the weapons systems." The holographic display sprang to life, showing schematics that would have given the hegemony's Weaponry Restrictions Council apoplexy. Particle lances adapted from the Mars artifacts. Gravity pulse cannons reverse-engineered from salvaged hegemony technology. And the main gun, a weapon that bent space itself into a lance of pure destruction. "We're ready, Admiral," Raj said quietly. "The crew is trained. The systems are tested. We can launch whenever you give the word." Chen was silent for a long moment, feeling the weight of 20 years of preparation. One ship against an empire that spanned thousands of worlds. The rational part of her mind screamed that it was suicide. But she'd seen the reports smuggled from other conquered worlds. Heard the whispers of resistance movements crushed, of species slowly suffocating under the hegemony's protection. Earth wasn't the only world that dreamed of freedom. Someone had to take the first step. "Begin launch preparations," she ordered. "Quietly. I want everything in place before." The chamber's lights suddenly flashed red. A klaxon wailed. Multiple hegemony warships just appeared in orbit. Raj's fingers flew across his console. "They're not following any scheduled patrol pattern. Something's wrong." "Show me." The tactical display shifted, showing 5 hegemony cruisers in attack formation. Even as they watched, smaller ships began deploying from their hangars. "They're launching ground penetration scouts," Santos reported, her voice tight. "They're scanning the lunar surface with focused tachyon beams." "How did they?" "Doesn't matter," Chen cut her off. They're here. Lieutenant Commander Patul, begin emergency launch sequence. Dr. Santos, divert all power to the stealth systems. If we can just get clear of the moon's gravity well. Admiral, Raj's voice was carefully controlled. We're still completing final system integrations. The main gun isn't fully calibrated. If we launch now, or we never launch at all. Chen's voice carried the weight of command. Sound general quarters. All hands to battle stations. Today humanity reminds the galaxy that we will not go quietly into the night. Alarms blared throughout the chamber as the crew scrambled to their positions. The Prometheus's engines hummed to life, power building in its quantum core. On the tactical display, the hegemony ships drew closer, their sensors probing deeper into the lunar surface. Chen took her place in the command chair, feeling the ship awaken around her. One ship against an empire. But sometimes, she reflected, watching her crew work with desperate efficiency, one spark was all it took to start a fire. Helm, plot us a course through their patrol screen. Weapons, bring all defensive systems online. Communications, maintain absolute silence. She allowed herself one final look at the Earth hanging above them, blue and peaceful and unaware of what was about to begin. Launch in 5 minutes, and may whatever gods exist have mercy on us all, because the hegemony certainly won't. The countdown began, and with it, humanity's first real step into the galactic stage. Not as supplicants or subjects, but as warriors, as equals. The revolution was about to begin. First contact gone wrong. The Prometheus erupted from the lunar surface like a vengeful spirit, clouds of moon dust cascading from its hull. On the bridge, Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with predatory focus as the ship's stealth systems engage. Stealth field holding, Dr. Santos reported from her station. Quantum signature masked. We're running silent. The hegemony ships continued their search pattern, seemingly oblivious to the warship rising through their formation. Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The stealth systems were performing beyond expectations. That satisfaction lasted exactly 8 seconds. Energy spike. Raj's warning came just as one of the hegemony cruisers turned directly toward them. They're using some kind of quantum resonance scanner. It's seen through our stealth field. Battle stations. Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the surge of adrenaline. Helm, get us clear of the formation. Weapons, defensive systems only. We're not starting this fight unless we have to. The Prometheus accelerated, its advanced engines pushing it past the hegemony ships with surprising grace for a vessel its size. But the element of surprise was lost. One by one, the alien ships turned to pursue. Admiral, we're being hailed, Communications Officer Maya Zhang reported. It's the hegemony High Overseer himself. Chen's jaw tightened. High Overseer Xanthar was the hegemony's chief representative to Earth, a being who portrayed himself as a benevolent guardian while slowly strangling humanity's independence. Put him through. Audio only. The bridge speakers crackled with a voice like grinding glass. Admiral Chen, I must admit, I'm impressed. We knew humans were resourceful, but this is unprecedented. Power down your vessel and prepare for boarding. Perhaps we can discuss this initiative of yours civilly. I think not. Overseer, Chen replied coldly. For 20 years, we've watched you guide our development, restrict our growth. Tell us it was for our own good. That ends today. You have one ship. Admiral, impressive as it may be, it cannot stand against the might of the hegemony. Don't force us to destroy you. A new alert flashed on the tactical display. More hegemony ships were emerging from faster-than-light travel, summoned by the Overseer's call. Dr. Santos, Chen called out, ignoring the Overseer's threats. Status of the main gun. Charging. Admiral, but without proper calibration, I can't guarantee. Target the lead cruiser. Show them what humanity can do. The Prometheus's main gun deployed from its ventral housing, space itself seeming to twist around its barrel. On the tactical display, the hegemony ships began to spread out, bringing their own weapons to bear. Admiral Chen. Xanthar's voice had lost its diplomatic veneer. This is your final warning. Stand down or... Chen cut the transmission with a gesture. Fire. The main gun discharge, a beam of twisted space-time lancing out toward the nearest hegemony cruiser. The alien ship's shields flared brilliant purple as they tried to resist the attack. For a moment, they held. Then reality itself seemed to fold around the cruiser. When space normalized, the ship was simply gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Simply erased from existence. Silence fell over the Prometheus's bridge, broken only by the hum of machinery. By all the gods, Raj whispered. The remaining hegemony ships reacted with obvious shock, their formation breaking as they tried to maintain distance from the human vessel. But Chen knew the respite would be brief. The hegemony didn't become a galactic power by showing weakness. New contacts. Maya's voice was urgent. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. But these aren't hegemony designs. The tactical display updated, showing a dozen sleek vessels of unknown configuration. They took up position between the Prometheus and the hegemony fleet. We're being hailed, Maya reported. Audio and visual. Let's see who our unexpected guests are, Chen ordered. The main screen activated, showing a bridge that seemed to be made of living crystal. Its commander was humanoid but clearly alien, tall and ethereal, with skin that shimmered like mother of pearl. Greetings, warriors of Earth. The alien spoke in flawless English. I am Commander Lyra of the Free Worlds Alliance. We've been watching your people for some time, waiting for you to take your first step toward freedom. It seems that day has finally come. Chen studied the alien commander carefully. The Free Worlds Alliance. We've never heard of you. The hegemony is quite thorough in controlling information. Lyra replied with what might have been a smile. But they are not as all-powerful as they pretend. There are many species who resist their guidance. Many who remember what it means to be truly free. Before Chen could respond, Raj called out, Admiral, the hegemony fleet is repositioning. They're preparing to attack. Then perhaps, Lyra suggested, we should continue this conversation somewhere safer. Follow our lead, friends of Earth. Welcome to the Resistance. Chen looked at her crew, seeing the mix of fear and hope on their faces. This wasn't how their first mission was supposed to go. But then, revolutions rarely followed careful plans. Helm, match course with the Alliance ships, she ordered. Dr. Santos, keep that main gun ready. Something tells me we're going to need it. As the Prometheus fell into formation with its unexpected allies, Chen couldn't help but smile. One ship against an empire had seemed like impossible odds. But now the real war could begin. The hegemony was about to learn that humanity wasn't alone in its desire for freedom. And together, they would shake the very foundations of galactic power. The Alliance forms. The Free Worlds Alliance base defied human expectations. Built within a massive asteroid in a system the hegemony had declared uninhabitable, it was a triumph of engineering and defiance. As Admiral Chen walked its crystalline corridors alongside Commander Lyra, she couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of species around her. How many? She asked, watching a group of beings that seemed to be made of living flame discuss tactical displays with insectoid engineers. 37 species actively resist the hegemony, Lyra replied. Another 50 provide covert support. We've spent centuries building this network, waiting for the right moment to strike. And humanity's little display was that moment. Your weapon. Lyra paused, choosing words carefully. We've never seen anything like it. The ability to manipulate space-time itself. The hegemony claims such technology is impossible. The hegemony claims many things. Chen responded dryly. Most of them lies. They entered a vast chamber where representatives from various resistance species had gathered. The Prometheus's senior staff was already there, Dr. Santos, deep in conversation with a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, while Raj and Maya studied holographic star charts with other Alliance members. Your ship's capabilities have changed everything, Lyra explained, gesturing to the assembled beings. For the first time, we have a weapon that can truly threaten hegemony capital ships. But more importantly, you've proven their vulnerability. Other species are beginning to question their control, which makes this the perfect time to strike. A new voice rumbled. A massive creature that seemed to be carved from living stone approached. I am General Cathor of the Lithian Resistance. My people have suffered under hegemony rule for a millennium. We're ready to fight. As are the Pyrians, added one of the flame beings. The hegemony's protection has kept us confined to a single star system. No more. One by one, representatives stepped forward, each with their own story of oppression and resistance. Chen listened, increasingly aware that humanity's struggle was part of something far larger. This is all very inspiring, she finally said, but the hegemony still has us outnumbered thousands to one. Even with the Prometheus's technology. Ah, but that's where you're wrong, Lyra interrupted with a gesture. A holographic display sprang to life in the center of the chamber, showing a massive space station orbiting a dark star. This is Installation Zero, the hegemony's primary research and development facility. Everything they use to maintain control, their quantum dampeners, their FTL inhibitors, their neural suppressors, it all comes from here. We've had agents inside for years, Cathor added. We know their security protocols, their patrol schedules. With your ship's stealth technology and space-time weapon, we could cripple their technological advantage. Chen finished, seeing the plan take shape. But they'll be expecting us now. After our little demonstration, that facility will be heavily guarded. Which is why we're not going to attack it. Dr. Santos spoke up, approaching with her energy being companion. We're going to let them capture us. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Chen raised an eyebrow at her chief scientist. Explain. The hegemony's arrogance is their weakness, Santos continued. They're so convinced of their technological superiority that they'll want to study the Prometheus, understand how we managed to develop such advanced technology under their noses. They'll take the ship to Installation Zero themselves. And once inside, Lyra picked up the thread. Our agents can help your crew disable their security systems, not just for the station, but for every suppression device in hegemony space. The revolution wouldn't just be one battle, Maya said, excitement creeping into her voice. It would be simultaneous uprisings across thousands of worlds. Chen studied the holographic station, her tactical mind already analyzing approach vectors and weak points. It's incredibly risky. If anything goes wrong, everything worth doing is risky. Admiral, Cathor rumbled. My people have a saying. The mountain does not fear the storm, for it was shaped by one. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to Chen. She felt the weight of centuries of oppression, of countless species waiting for their chance at freedom. The rational move would be to refuse, to find a safer path. But she hadn't built humanity's first true warship by being rational. How soon can we begin? The chamber erupted in cheers and expressions of support in a dozen different languages. As the various representatives began discussing logistics and coordination, Lyra drew Chen aside. There's something else you should know, the alien commander said quietly. Something about the technology you found on Mars. It's older than you realize. Much older. Chen frowned. What do you mean? The hegemony didn't rise to power naturally. They found something, ancient technology left behind by a species that vanished months ago. They'd been using it to maintain control, but they don't fully understand it. Your weapon, it uses similar principles. Somewhere on Earth, without even realizing it, you found a key to the same power they've been hoarding. Before Chen could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. Maya rushed over, her face pale. Admiral, we're detecting multiple hegemony fleets moving into position around suspected resistance worlds. They're not taking any chances after our escape. They're preparing for a full crackdown. Chen's jaw tightened. Their window of opportunity was closing fast. How long until the plan can be implemented? 3 days, Lyra replied. Minimum. The hegemony will have those worlds under complete lockdown by then, Thor growled. Chen looked around the chamber at her newfound allies, beings who had fought and suffered for centuries while humanity was still reaching for the stars. They had waited so long for their chance at freedom. She wouldn't let them wait any longer. Then we don't wait 3 days, she declared. We move now. Signal all resistance cells. Tell them to begin their preparations immediately. The hegemony wants to see our full strength. She smiled, and there was nothing friendly in it. Let's show them what 37 species fighting for freedom can really do. Breaking chains. The Prometheus drifted through space, its systems apparently failing, emergency beacons broadcasting distress signals on all frequencies. To any observer, it appeared to be a wounded prey animal, waiting to be captured. Admiral Chen sat in her command chair, outwardly calm despite the tension coursing through her crew. Status of the quantum core. Cycling at 12%, exactly as planned, Dr. Santos replied. As far as their sensors can tell, we're barely holding together. Hegemony response fleet approaching, Raj reported. 3 heavy cruisers, multiple support vessels. They're moving cautiously. They'd be fools not to, Chen murmured. The destruction of their first cruiser had taught them respect, if nothing else. The main screen flickered to life, showing High Overseer Xanthar's austere features. Admiral Chen, your little rebellion seems to have reached its inevitable conclusion. You've won, Overseer, Chen replied, allowing exhaustion to color her voice. Our core is destabilizing. Without immediate assistance, we'll lose containment. I won't sacrifice my crew for pride. The alien's expression remained impassive, but Chen could sense his satisfaction. A wise decision. Prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. As the transmission ended, Maya spoke quietly from her station. Alliance ships are in position, cloaked and waiting. Resistance cells across 17 sectors report ready status. Chen nodded slightly. Everything was proceeding according to plan, almost too perfectly. The hegemony ships surrounded the Prometheus, tractor beams engaging to hold it steady. Boarding shuttles approach, carrying teams of heavily armed troops. Let them take the bridge, Chen ordered her security teams. Offer token resistance only. Remember, we need to be convincing. The next hour was a carefully choreographed dance. Hegemony troops stormed through the ship, encountering just enough resistance to seem plausible without truly threatening their advance. Chen and her bridge crew were placed in energy restraints, their expressions appropriately defeated. Fascinating design, one of the hegemony engineers muttered, examining the Prometheus' systems. The integration of quantum mechanics with spatial manipulation, it shouldn't be possible at their technological level. Which is precisely why we're taking this ship to Installation 0, Xanthar declared, entering the bridge like a conquering emperor. The Science Council will want to study every aspect of it. Perhaps we'll finally understand how these primitives manage such a leap forward. As Chen was led away with her crew, she caught a glimpse of Dr. Santos. The physicist gave an almost imperceptible nod. Phase 1 was complete. The journey to Installation 0 took 3 days in FTL. 3 days of sitting in a detention cell, listening to the guards discuss how the hegemony would punish Earth for its transgression. 3 days of wondering if their allies were maintaining position, if the resistance cells were ready. 3 days of hoping they hadn't all miscalculated horribly. Installation 0 lived up to its reputation. The massive station was a marvel of engineering, its multiple rings rotating around a central hub that housed the hegemony's most advanced research facilities. As the Prometheus was guided into a specialized docking bay, Chen could see dozens of other captured or experimental ships being studied. Remarkable, isn't it? Xanthar said as Chen and her senior staff were led toward the research labs. This is where the future of the galaxy is shaped. where we ensure peace and stability for all species under our protection. You mean where you develop new ways to keep us under your control, Chen replied. The overseer's expression might have been a smile or a sneer. Control is peace, Admiral, something your species seems to have difficulty understanding. But don't worry, we'll have time to help you understand. A great deal of time. They reached a vast laboratory where teams of hegemony scientists were already swarming over the Prometheus, analyzing its systems. Chen watched them with carefully hidden satisfaction. Right where we want them. Sir, a technician rushed up to Xanthar. We're detecting unusual energy readings from the quantum core. It appears to be. The technician never finished his sentence. At that precise moment, every light in the station flickered. Alarms began blaring. Multiple hull breaches detected. A voice announced over the station's comm system. Unknown vessels decloaking in all sectors. We're being boarded. Xanthar spun toward Chen, his composed demeanor cracking. What have you done? Chen smiled as her energy restraints suddenly deactivated, courtesy of the resistance agents who had infiltrated the station's security systems months ago. Brought some friends to the party. Throughout the station, chaos erupted. Alliance ships appeared from nowhere, launching waves of fighters and boarding craft. Resistance agents who had posed as loyal hegemony workers for years revealed themselves, attacking from within. And in the laboratory, Dr. Santos reached out and touched a seemingly innocuous panel on the Prometheus's hull. The ship's systems roared to life, its quantum core pulsing with power that had never truly been depleted. You should have studied our history more carefully, Chen told the stunned overseer as her crew moved to secure the laboratory. Humans have a long tradition of using Trojan horses. The battle for Installation Zero had begun. The revolution was entering its final phase. And the hegemony was about to learn that underestimating humanity had been their greatest mistake. Dawn of freedom. Installation Zero had become a battlefield. Through the station's vast windows, Chen could see the space battle raging outside. Alliance ships engaging hegemony vessels in a deadly dance. But the real fight was happening inside. Main control center is 2 levels up, Lyra reported, her crystalline armor scarred from recent combat. Our agents have disabled most of the security systems, but the hegemony's elite guards are putting up heavy resistance. They know what we're after, Chen replied, checking the charge on her captured energy weapon. Once we gain control of the central computer, we can deactivate their suppression technology across the entire galaxy. Incoming. Thor's warning came just as a squad of hegemony troops rounded the corner, weapons blazing. The diverse group of resistance fighters responded with practiced coordination. Thor's stone-like body absorbed the brunt of the enemy fire, while Pyrrhian warriors launched streams of living flame down the corridor. Chen and her human crew provided precision fire support, their smaller size allowing them to use cover effectively. Admiral. Maya's voice came through Chen's comm unit. Status report from the Prometheus. Dr. Santos says she's ready. Tell her to wait for my signal. We only get one shot at this. They fought their way upward through the station, level by level. The Resistance's coordination was proving superior to the hegemony's rigid tactical doctrine. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were turning their unique abilities and perspectives into advantages. Finally, they'd reached the armored doors of the main control center. They've locked down the entrance, Lyra reported, examining the security panels. Even our override codes aren't working. Then we make our own door, Chen replied. Thor. The Lithian general stepped forward, his crystalline muscles flexing. With a roar that shook the deck plates, he slammed his fists into the door. Again and again, the reinforced metal began to buckle. More guards approaching. One of the resistance fighters called out, "Multiple directions. Hold them off," Chen ordered. "We need 2 more minutes." The corridor erupted in chaos as hegemony forces launched an all-out assault to protect their control center. Energy weapons fire filled the air, along with more exotic attacks from various resistant species. Through it all, Thor continued his relentless assault on the door. With a final thunderous impact, the doors gave way. Chen led the charge inside, only to stop short at what she saw. High Overseer Xanthar stood at the central control platform, surrounded by crackling energy fields. But it was what lay beyond him that drew everyone's attention. A massive crystalline structure that pulsed with otherworldly power. Behold, Xanthar's voice was strangely calm, the source of our authority, the legacy of those who came before. Did you think we maintained control over thousands of worlds through simple technology? The crystal seemed to sing, its frequencies making Chen's teeth ache. She could feel its power trying to reach into her mind, trying to impose order and obedience. The precursors understood that chaos leads to destruction. Xanthar continued. They built this to ensure peace, to maintain harmony. We are merely its custodians. You're its prisoners, Lyra countered, her own crystalline form resonating with the ancient device. As much as we are. The precursor's fear of chaos became your chains, and you've spent millennia forcing those chains on others. Chen raised her weapon. It ends today. You can't possibly hope to destroy it. Xanthar laughed. The combined fleets of a dozen species couldn't scratch its surface. What can one primitive human do? Chen smiled. Who said anything about destroying it? She activated her comm. Dr. Santos. Now. Aboard the Prometheus, Santos initiated the sequence they'd prepared. The ship's quantum core, built using principles reverse-engineered from precursor technology, reached out to its ancient parent. Two frequencies met, resonated, and the crystal's song changed. What? What are you doing? Xanthar's composure cracked as displays began flashing warnings. Removing the fear, Chen replied. The precursors built this to prevent chaos, but they forgot something important. Evolution requires chaos. Growth requires freedom. Your perfect harmony is nothing but stagnation. The crystal's color shifted from deep purple to brilliant white. Throughout the station, throughout the galaxy, the frequencies that had maintained the hegemony's control for centuries began to change. The precursor device isn't being destroyed. Lyra realized, her own crystalline form glowing in response. It's being awakened, changed. Impossible. Xanthar reached for the controls, but Kithor's massive hand caught him. The impossible is what humans do best. The Lithian rumbled. On thousands of worlds across the galaxy, beings looked up as the ever-present hum of hegemony control simply stopped. Ships that had been locked down by suppression fields found themselves free to move. Weapons that had been designed to never work against hegemony forces sparked to life. The revolution wasn't just beginning. It was already over. Hours later, Chen stood on the Prometheus's bridge, watching the reports flood in. The hegemony's hold had been broken. Some of their ships fought on, but most had surrendered once they realized their technological advantages were gone. The Alliance representatives are requesting your presence at the preliminary peace talks, Maya reported. They're saying humanity's voice should be heard in shaping the new galactic order. Chen nodded, her mind already working on the challenges ahead. Freedom was just the beginning. Building something better in the aftermath would be the real test. Send them our acceptance, she replied. And Maya, tell them we have some ideas about preventing any future empires from rising on the backs of the oppressed. As the Prometheus set course for the Alliance's headquarters, Chen took one last look at Installation Zero. The ancient crystal still pulsed with power, but now its song was different. Not an imposition of order, but an invitation to grow, to change, to evolve. Humanity had taken its first real steps into the galactic community, not as subjects, not as rebels, but as equals, as innovators, as the spark that had ignited true freedom across the stars. The future was uncertain, chaotic, filled with possibilities both wonderful and terrible, just as it should be.